Lady Letitia, do you think it's a wise decision?
Kiva asked with a worried look. I need to be able to defend myself, Kiva. I told her as she helped me with my clothes. I was dressed as a royal female warrior. I just don't understand why, Lady Letitia. She mumbles. You have Kaelin to protect you, or don't you trust him? I do trust him, but I don't expect him to be with me all the time. The king won't like the idea of you learning how to fight. We will deal with it when he gets back. I'm just worried. I know you are mostly doing this to escape your mind from the war going on, but King Darium is undefeated and always comes back a winner, so you don't have to worry about it. I know, but I can't help it, there hasn't been any news yet. I told her as she guarded me out of the room to the practice ground, where Kaelin was waiting for us. It has been 5 days now since the king and his troops left for the battlefield, and it has been 2 days since we last heard from them. I had faith that Darium was still alive, but sometimes the negative thoughts do take over. Queen Letitia. Kaelin greeted us when he saw us, his eyes shifted to Kiva, and I could have sworn I saw his lips lift up at the side. Let's get started. Kiva took a step back from us, watching from a distance as Kaelin waved his fingers, telling me to attack first. I had no idea what to do. I never really had any experience in combat fighting or any kind of fighting, so I could relay a poor punch, and he scoffed, giving me a look that said really. I believe you can do better than that, Your Highness. Kaelin stated, raising his hand. Again. I punched his hand, applying a little more pressure. Good, this time put more force on it and punch harder. He instructed, and I did as he said, punching with all my might. That's good. He compliments me and begins giving me instructions on what to do, telling me various techniques to use. We did a little bit of punching, with Kaelin correcting my hand fist and telling me the proper way to clench my fingers. We practiced for up to 2 hours before changing to another tactic, as he told me to practice my kick. Your kick is weak, but I see potential, Kaelin stated after 5 hours of practice. We will continue at the same time tomorrow. I sighed, feeling tired. Very well then, I replied, trying to catch my breath. We both parted ways to freshen up, and as promised, we met the next day, the day after, and the day after, practicing and practicing. We practiced for 2 months, and there was still no news from the king and his troops yet. Like always, we were on the training ground, but I was not feeling up to it today. I know people say no news is good news, but all I felt was restlessness and anxiety with the possible thought of the king being hurt. In his absence, I took the matter to the court, handling the minor problems the kingdom had. You have made really great progress, Your Highness. We start from the top, Kaelin instructed, and I nodded, getting in position, and we began fighting. I felt myself hit the ground, and I immediately stood up, getting into position again as I began to attack him. I gave him a punch, spinning around to kick him, and he stumbled back, letting out a grunt. I didn't let him get his footing as I continued to throw blows and kick at him. My mind was clouded with so many thoughts. It wasn't until Kaelin hit the ground that I snapped out of whatever trance I was in. A gasp left my lips when I noticed what I had done and saw the blood rushing out of Kaelin's nose. I rushed over to him to see if he was okay. I'm so sorry, Kaelin, I didn't realize. I apologize and give him a hand up. It's okay, Your Highness has nothing to apologize for. Instead, you should celebrate, you have finally managed to knock me down. He tried to grin but ended up wincing in pain.
Kiva, take him to the healer,
I told her, and she sprang into action, taking Kaelin with her, and they both walked out of the field. I exhaled a tired breath, my feet heavy, as I returned back to the palace, giving a little smile to anyone who greeted me. I walked back into the room and went straight to the bed, throwing myself on it. I rested my hand on my face, covering my eyes, and a lone tear fell down my face. My body felt weak as my eyes slowly drift off to sleep. Lady Letitia. I heard my name being called, and I fluttered my eyes open, staring into Kiva's worried face.
Thank the heavens you are okay.
She says this with warmth in her eyes. What happened? I groaned, looking down to see I was out of my uniform and in a dress. My hair was left down with the mattress on top of me. You have been running a fever for 3 days now, she explained in a tense tone. I raised my hands to touch my forehead. It felt warm, and I could feel myself getting better. Any news yet? A hopeful look crossed my face as I asked her about the king. Her face turned sad, and she shook her head. I'll run a warm bath for you, Kiva says, rushing over to the bath chamber. I turned my head and looked out at the night sky, aimlessly staring at the stars, when Kiva came back to the room. She helped me up the bed, helped me out of my clothes, and then slowly laid me into the bathtub. My back rested against the wooden tub with my eyes closed, while Kiva added soap and fragrance to the water. I feel it soothing against my skin until I hear the loud sound of a drum being hit. Kiva gasped, dropping the plate of scented flowers on the ground with widened eyes. I stared at her, wondering what was wrong and why she was acting this way. Lady Letitia, she called, a smile beaming across her face. The king is back. My back rested against the wooden tub with my eyes closed, while Kiva added soap and fragrance to the water. I feel it soothing against my skin until I hear the loud sound of a drum being hit. Kiva gasped, dropping the plate of scented flowers on the ground with widened eyes. I stared at her, wondering what was wrong and why she was acting this way. Lady Letitia, she called, a smile beaming across her face. The king is back. What? I stutter out. What did you say? The king is back. She repeated it, and a sob left my lips as I laughed. Getting up from the bathtub, I rushed out of the bathing chamber with Kiva behind me. Lady Letitia, you can't go out like this, she yells after me. This would cause a controversy. She pointed it out, and I glanced down at my naked body. A blush crept on my cheek. I had totally forgotten to put on clothes. If Kiva hadn't stopped me, I would have totally run out like that, not bothered by my naked, wet body. Let's get you ready. I parted my lips to speak, but she cut me off. I promised to quicken my pace, she said as if she could read my mind. Like she promised, I was dressed up in no time. I didn't wait for her to fix my hair as I ran out of the room and out of the palace, not caring if I was going the wrong way. The wind blew across my face and hair. I picked up the pace, running faster with Kellen and Kiva behind me. I didn't care how I looked or what it looked like for the people to see their queen running this fast. All I knew was that I had one destination at hand, and that was to get to where the king was. I was able to spot the troops from afar making their way into town, and the people celebrated, singing songs of victory. The closer they got, the more I ran. I only stopped to catch my breath when I saw they were a few yards from me. My eyes scanned the soldiers and their horses, looking for the king's familiar dark horse with gold design, but when I wasn't able to spot it, my breath ceased, fearing for the possible worse. One of the soldiers got down from his horse, walked over to me, and bowed. Queen Letitia. Where is the king? I asked, clenching onto my dress as I tried to put on a bold face. The king and Commander Nico are on their way. They had to stop at Silvio because Lord Zane had been injured during the battle. He explained, and I felt myself release a breath I didn't know I was holding. Princess Nithotep is with them and would stay in Silvio for a few days with Commander Nico, but the king would be back by tomorrow. I nodded, blinking back the tears in my eyes. It was like a load of burden was lifted up my chest. You all have done well. I cheered on them, turning back to return to the palace. Lady Letitia. I just want to rest, Kiva. I tell her, cutting her off. What about dinner? I'm not hungry. We got back to the room, and I went straight to my bed, lying on it. Kiva wrapped the bedspread around my body, and I pulled it over to my neck. This time when I was woken up, it wasn't because of my name being called, but by the feel of a callous hand caressing my skin. Wet kisses were placed on my forehead, cheek, jaw, and then my lips. I moaned, fluttering my eyes open. It felt like a dream when I saw who was sitting next to me. I didn't realize I was crying until his hand touched my cheeks, wiping the tears away. I'm sorry, little bird, for not sending you a letter to let you know I was okay. Darium whispers, stroking my cheek. Shaking my head, I cried even more. I got up to a sitting position, throwing myself on him as I hugged him tight, and he hugged me back with equal passion. I missed you so much, Letitia. He pecked the side of my head, holding me in his embrace. I'm sorry I couldn't get here on time. I shake my head again, pulling away from the hug. It's okay, as long as you are okay and alive. That's all that matters. My eyes wandered all over his body, checking for injury, settling on a red stain on the left side of his arms. His eyes trailed from me, following my sight of line before a hand came under my chin, bringing my face to his. It's not mine, I had to help Zayn up when he got hurt. That's why I have this stain on my hand. I exhaled, relieved by his explanation, and my eyes pecked when I heard the sound of music being beat outside the palace with the cheers and shouts of the people.
They are celebrating our victory.
He clarified, it is a costume to celebrate the night of our victory until the next morning.
Shouldn't we be there, celebrating with them?
We should, but I think I'm going to sit this one out. He says this, his hand holding mine. I prefer staying here with you. He bends, taking my lips in his in a hungry, feverish kiss. We have 2 months worth of catching up to do. He says this, pulling away. And how do we suggest we catch up? My voice was low as I teased him, and as expected, his lips claimed mine. He gently pushed me to the bed, hovering over me. No foreplay, I told him, wanting to feel him in me. His hand moved to the back of my nightdress, undoing the robe and getting rid of both my clothes and his. He wrapped my legs around his waist. I woke up with Darium caressing my skin as he smiled down at me. A smile instantly graced my face, and I snuggled closer to him. Good morning. His voice was husky, his hair messy due to the number of times I ran my hands over it last night, but looking at him, he looked more sexy with his messy hair, and his husky morning voice helped increase whatever feelings I was having. The both of us were naked with our bodies tangled together. His hand came down to my jaw, pushing my head up so that my lips could meet his. His kisses were gentle, and I closed my eyes, savoring every taste. I wanted to remain locked in his embrace, kissing him, but I knew that was not going to be possible. I needed to go for my training, and I knew Darium was probably going to go back to handling court matters. I'm taking you to town, Darium said against my lips. Don't you have other matters to attend to? It can wait, he says, pecking my lips. I made a promise to you, and I plan on keeping it. He tells me, and my heart warms. He slipped out of the bed, not at all ashamed to show me his bare body, going over to the bathing chamber before turning back to look at me. Care to join? He asks, and I smiled, getting out of the bed as I walked over towards him. And we both made our way into the bathing chamber. Let's just say we did more than just bathe. After spending nearly an hour in the bathing chamber, we both freshened up and got dressed, making our way into town. We walked around the town, and I was fully able to see everything I hadn't seen the night I ran out of the palace to wait for the king. I could see the beauty and wealth it represented, all the houses were of decent size. It was way different than Ahades. The street was filled with people of different classes mingling amongst each other, laughing and talking over drinks. We walked around the kingdom with the people, sending greetings our way. We stopped at what looked like a pub, filled with both men and women.
Your Majesty, Queen Letitia.
A woman said this and bowed. Why doesn't His Majesty mingle with the men and we ladies keep the Queen company? Darium looked at me to know if I was okay being left alone with the women, and I gave him the go-ahead, letting him join the men. It wasn't like I was actually alone, I have Kaylin and Kiva beside me. A loud cheer filled the room as the men shouted in joy when their king took a seat at their table. Queen Letitia, this way. The woman said this, directing us over to where the other women sat. Time passed as I talked with the women, getting to know some of them, while others did nothing to hide their displeasure at my presence. I had zoned out what they were saying, my eyes were focused on the king, watching him laugh with the men. Now I could see why his people respected him, they felt at ease in his presence, and he did in theirs. What do you think, Queen Letitia? Serena, the woman who had dragged me from the presence of the king, asked, bringing my focus back to them. I apologize, I was lost in my thoughts for a moment. Could you kindly repeat the question again? Serena gave me a warm smile before speaking. We are just curious to know when the birth of the heir will be expected. You have been married for close to 4 months now. I know it's not our place, but I think it's time the kingdom celebrated a great news like this. Another woman said. I forced a smile on my face. The king and I are working on it, and when the time comes, I'm sure we will bear a child of our own. If the king and you have consummated your marriage, then there should be news of an heir. It has after all been 4 months. A young woman asked with a self-satisfying smile. She was dressed in fancier clothes and looked to be a noble. What happens between the king and I has nothing to do with you, I said, trying not to get vexed by her words. Don't be silly, of course it concerns us, the people, she replied, playing around with the tip of her hair. If the queen isn't capable of carrying a child, then it's best the king finds someone else. Rosella, Serena called out in a warning tone, and the younger woman smirked, feeling threatened. You don't need to shun me down, Serena. She speaks in a malicious tone. I'm just making sure Queen Letitia is more deserving of the title given to her. And who do you think would be a better fit for the king? You. Another younger woman of the same age as Rosella sneered at her. I stared at them with warmth in my heart, watching them stand up for me even though I was very well capable of doing so myself, but the thought of them accepting me was refreshing. Of course not, Laura. Rosella narrowed her eyes. We both know the king doesn't fancy me, but my sister. On the other hand, you are all aware of the status my sister held before our dear queen came into the king's life, poisoning her way through his heart. So this was about her sister. The reasoning for her hatred was because the king had rejected her sister. Which made me wonder who her sister was. Laura scoffed, rolling her eyes. I think you and Tegan have a little dementia. There was no way the king felt even a tiny bit of emotion for Tegan. We all knew it, except for your sister and you. She kept trying to push a way into the king's life. What did she think would happen if she seduced him to her bed, that he would get on one knee and ask to make her his wife? Queen Letitia is already the king's wife, and she has proven to be a better queen than your sister would ever be. Rosella's jaw clenched, and she threw a glare at everyone before getting to her feet and walking out of the pub. Queen Letitia, I apologize for having started this dispute with my question. Serena says it with a guilty look. We didn't say it as a way to offend you, we just wanted to start a conversation with you. It's nothing to worry about. I'm glad you did, because if you didn't, I wouldn't have known how you all felt about me. It means a lot to me to be a part of you all. Serena smiled, handing me a cup of tea before raising hers to the air. To the king and queen! She cheered, and other women followed, cheering along with her. The fun carried on for a while, and by the time we got back to the palace, it was already dark outside.